Hello, my powerful forces of nature and beautiful little storms. It is Hurricane Hannah here, and there is a storm warning in the forecast, but fear not, it is only a Category 1, because today we are going to hone down our basics of the core. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe because that really helps out this channel, and go ahead and click that notifications button so you know next time there is a storm coming your way. This video is intended for beginner to intermediate, or it could be for advanced individuals who need to go back to the basics and really hone down that proper form. Without further ado, let's begin. Today we are going to be talking about the core, which is such a complex but very, very important set of muscles. Now, when we think about the core, I do want you to always think about front and back, but if you're looking for back exercises, you can check out my upper body basics video, which I created a few weeks ago, and that is going to be a really good complementary exercise program for this core video. Now, why is the core so important? Well, the core is what is going to support our spine, give us good posture, and it is pretty essential to our balance and stabilization of every exercise. So when we do these exercises, I want you to focus on activating the right muscles, thinking about where you feel it and making sure you feel it in the right place, and thinking about how this is going to apply to all the other muscles of the body. Today, I'm going to show you 6 different moves that involve different muscles of the core. Now, our core is made up of a lot of different groups, and it does many different movements. It is designed for flexion, forward and back, also lateral flexion, and it is also designed for rotation of all kinds. So it's really important that we do all of those movements and not just the typical crunches. When we think of the core, we are going to think of 4 main muscle groups. The rectus abdominis, which is going to be that traditional six-pack, superficial to everything underneath. It is what we see when we think of abs. Secondly, we are going to think about our transverse abdominis, which is below the rectus abdominis and is really responsible for giving us that spinal support and connecting to our pelvic floor. When we talk about pelvic floor, I do want you to know that the core goes all the way down to the pelvis, and that part of the core tends to get the least amount of work because we really just think, oh, our abs are up here. And finally, we have our 2 obliques. Granted, the obliques are not just one big muscle, it is really kind of like an X that connects our ribs to our hips and allows a lot of that rotation, and our obliques are also responsible for lateral flexion. Let's dive into the first move. We are going to begin with the 100. So this is designed to target our rectus abdominis, that six-pack muscle that we have, and it is going to be us lying on the floor on our back. We are going to bring our legs up to a 90-degree angle or less. Definitely don't crunch those knees in towards your chest. Let it be at least 90 degrees. We are going to exhale, curl the head and shoulders off the floor, reaching our fingertips away from our shoulders. And we are going to press our low back down into the floor. There should be no space in between your back and the floor. Then we are going to pump vigorously to a beat, and I want you to kind of breathe with it because our core and our diaphragm, which is part of the core, are very connected to the breath. So I want you to exhale 2, 3, 4, inhale 2, 3, 4. That is a Pilates method of breathing designed to really activate the diaphragm in tandem with the rectus abdominis. What I do not want to see is I do not want to see that low back arching off the floor, as that is going to put no work into the core and all of the work into our low back, which is actually really a strain because our low back is not designed to be working while we are in this position. As you can tell, that looks pretty uncomfortable and is certainly not going to target the right muscles. The other common mistake I see with the 100 is we get lazy with the legs and we want to flop them in towards our torso. It is really important that you keep them at least at 90 degrees. If you want it a little harder, then you can always lower your legs down. Never get your legs so low that it brings your low back up off the floor. The two ways to do this move are with bent knees and straight legs. It is up to you which modification you choose. Straight legs is going to be a little bit more difficult, but that is going to provide a lot of tension in that core. The last most common mistake I see is people overusing their neck instead of their belly. They want their belly to be lazy, so they'll just chicken head the whole time. You see this with sit-ups, crunches. It is really awful for the neck and the cervical spine to do a chicken head, when in fact our abs are responsible for curling our head and shoulders up off the floor. Relax the neck, find a long spine, and use your brain to focus into the spot where you want to work as you use your brain to relax the neck. For the 100s, it is called 100 for a reason. I would love it if you did 4 sets of 25 pumps, or you can do 3 sets of 30 if you need a little bit less, but it is designed to be a high repetition, low weight exercise. The second move that we are going to get into is double leg stretch. This is a classical Pilates move designed to get into that pelvic floor and that transverse abdominis. You should feel this below the belly button and deep into your core. How you are going to do this is in the same position as you would start the 100, but you will relax your head and shoulders down, keeping your spine long. You are going to take your legs and you are going to bend the knees into the chest and then let them straighten out and get as low as you can. Again, keeping that low back pressed down into the floor. We have this red ball in between our thighs, and that is designed to activate the inner thighs. Our inner thighs are so vital when we're trying to turn on that pelvic floor because they are deeply connected. So if your inner thighs are active, it is likely that your deep core is going to be feeling it. Again, I want you to feel this below the belly button and deep in the pelvis. You are going to inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, squeeze those thighs together, pull the knees to chest. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, squeeze it in. For the double leg stretch, I would give it 3 sets of 10, reaching it as low as you can, making sure you squeeze that ball on every single rep. The biggest mistake I see with the double leg stretch is again letting the low back take over and arching that spine. We cannot work the front of the body if the back of the body is working, right? Because the antagonist of a muscle cannot work when the protagonist is working. So right now the protagonist is the core. Back is turned off completely. We are pressing that low spine down as we squeeze those inner thighs to bring the legs in. Get your legs as low as you can without arching your back off the floor. The third exercise we are going to get into is called Windshield Wipers. Laying in that same position as you would do the 100s, you are going to have your knees bent. Hips are going to be at a 90-degree angle. Again, really important that we keep them there. Head and shoulders are going to be on the floor, pressing all 10 fingers into the mat. And what you are going to do is you are going to slowly, with as much control as you possibly can, lower your knees to the right. Exhale, bring those knees up. Inhale, lower to the left. Exhale, squeeze, bring it up. Again, I want you to keep those inner thighs active, squeezing those knees together. If you have trouble doing this, put your red ball in between your thighs. That is really going to help you out. And what I want you to do is I want you to make sure it is coming from the belly and not from the back. Now, as we rotate, our back and our front work together in that double X to really pull our hips and our hips apart and together. So you will feel this in the back a little bit, but I want you to really focus on pulling that belly button into your spine, zipping up those inner thighs so that you are concentrated on the belly. Windshield wipers are designed to begin to open up that rotational strength, so you should feel it in the obliques, the transverse, and the rectus abdominis. That little X in your belly is going to be working to pull your knees up and slowly bring them down to the floor. The biggest common mistake with windshield wipers is people doing them way too fast. It should not look like this, where you are just flailing your legs back and forth with no regard to what muscles are really doing it. You are just flying through these windshield wipers. No. I want you to find a slow song or a slow rhythm and really to the beat. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, rotate up. Exhale, slowly bring it down. It is all about the control. Take them as slow as you need to, but do not take them quickly. You are not going to get a lot of work done if you are just flailing your legs around. If you want to get a little spicier, I recommend you take your arms off the floor and hold them up above your head. This is exponentially harder, definitely not for level 1, but if you are an advanced athlete watching this video and you want to try something crazy, try it like this. For windshield wipers, I would do 3 sets of 20 or 3 sets of 10 on each side. So 1 rep would be bringing your legs all the way to the right, to the center, and all the way to the left. Hence, 10 on each side. To keep that rotational strength active, we are going to stand up and take some sprinters from a standing position. This exercise is going to be a little bit of cardio as well, and you can take these fast as long as you are actively rotating and crunching as much as you can. So you're going to lift your right leg, bring your left elbow into that right knee, exhale, twist and switch, exhale, twist and switch. The goal is to rotate your torso as much as you can comfortably while really pulling that belly button into your spine and crunching. If you exhale with every twist, again, that'll really help pull in the diaphragm, pull in the rectus and transverse abdominis, and ensure that you are activating the core. The biggest mistake that I see with this is people not giving rotation. They're just simply lifting their knee to their elbow, just marching through it, really not focused on what muscles are being used, and it is going to be very unsuccessful for activating your rotational strength if you are not rotating. So for sprinters, since it's a cardio move, if you want a challenge, I would recommend doing a set of 24 3 times. 24 being 12 on each leg and arm, and take them pretty quickly with that focus on using your core. That's going to get your heart rate up while activating your muscles. If you want a little bit less cardio and a little bit less of a challenge, I would just take 3 sets of 16 on each side. Take them as slow as you need to, at your own pace. As previously mentioned, the obliques do not just twist, the obliques are also designed for lateral flexion. So we are going to be taking Tik-Toks. And no, I am not talking about a popular app for video entertainment. I am talking about this exercise. What we are going to do is we are going to stand up tall, shoulders down and back, and we are going to just laterally flex as much as we can. And I want you to really use your brain to focus on the sides of your body. That is driving your weight up. You should have a light squeeze to those glutes to keep us up tall, and a light squeeze to the shoulder blades down and back so that we have the proper posture. This one is going to require dumbbells. You could do this body weight, but it's going to be a lot more effective if you have a little bit of weight. I would recommend starting off with 3 or 5 pounds. If you know that you're a little stronger than that, grab your 8s, grab your 10s, and Tik-Tok it out. The most common mistake I see is poor posture, one of two ways. The first way is rounding at the shoulders, because what this is going to do is put a lot of strain in our upper and mid back, and it's a lot harder for the obliques to do their job when the back is also in a compromised position. As you can see here, it really limits my range of motion, and it's just dangerous for my spine. The second most common mistake is sticking that butt out and using way too much low back. So here what we can see is that our low back is turned on and active, and we are not putting it into the core and the obliques. Again, there is no such thing as a bad exercise, but if you're doing your Tik-Toks with your butt sticking out, you are not going to feel that frontal core that we really want to feel. And for this exercise, I would do 3 sets of 20, 10 on each side. I know these are fairly high repetition, but our core is a huge muscle, so in order to get it working, we have to do higher repetitions to really feel nice and sore the next day. Core exercise number 6 is going to be bird dog pulses. So this is designed to activate the entire core with core stability. And core stability is really important because even if we're not flexing the spine in every which way, our core has to be engaged to keep us healthy in the spine, the hips, and the shoulders. You are going to start off in all fours position, and I do not want to see a cat. I do not want to see a cow. I want your back to be nice and flat. So try and do this in front of a mirror where you can really make sure that your core is active, because the bird dog is so easy to just be lazy on and let that belly drop to the floor. So what you are going to do is you are going to gently lift your right arm and left leg. The goal of core stability is to not let anything move as you release those 2 stability points. Right? So what you're going to do is you are going to brace that core, gently lift your hand and leg off the floor, and start pulsing. Now, again, the common mistakes of this exercise are letting your belly drop to the floor, and some of that's because people want to kick their leg up as high as they can, thinking that's going to get more glute activation. That actually takes it away from the glute and puts it into the low back instead. If you want to do low back pulses, that's the way to do it. If you want your glute to be active, you've got to keep that back flat. The second most common mistake is when people let their hips open up way too much. And so as you're looking in the mirror, I want you to make sure there's a beautiful flat plane on top of your hips. Again, you may be thinking, I'm not going to get enough glute activation if I don't get my leg up as high as I can. But on the contrary, when you are tilting your hips like that, all you are doing is releasing any core activation and taking it into the low back, and the glute gets lazy. And on a side note, this is also true for if you're abducting your leg to the side. Very commonly do I see people doing fire hydrants, leg up to the side, and just rotating those hips up. That is not core stability. Core stability means we are in the same plane of motion. All 4 corners are locked tight as we lift our arm and our leg. You are going to take, yes, high repetitions, 30 pulses on each side 3 times. I know that is a lot of pulses. Find 1 or 2 songs that you really like and pulse it out. Pulse, 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 pulse. Bring that belly button into the sky. Breathe, breathe, breathe with the movement. Little tiny. Just like we breathe on the hundreds. And the bird dog is an excellent step 1 for when we want to get into planks on the feet. It really trains our core to hold our whole body still while we have limbs doing different things. And for these bird dogs, I want you to keep your eyes to the floor unless you're looking to the mirror, because I don't want you craning your head back and straining your neck. You should always be thinking about how we can lengthen the spine as much as possible during all of these moves. All right, everyone, so now you have category 1 upper body, category 1 leg day, and category 1 core, which you can combine all 3 of these throughout the week and find a routine that works for you. Again, I would also recommend adding in more cardio to all of these exercises because cardio is super important. So find a cardio day, do your upper body day, leg day, core day, and have a couple of rest days in between. I challenge you to do all of these workouts for 4 to 6 weeks, and I challenge you to move on to category 2 storms when you are ready. And again, these videos are designed to be taken home, working at your own pace, finding the moves that are really challenging for you and working hard on those. And this is designed to be your workout and your program. So I want you to tackle it at your own speed and make sure that you are being safe and honoring your body no matter what. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this content, as that really helps me out. And don't forget to hit that notifications bell so that you know when I upload videos. And you can always reach out to me on my Instagram, where you can find other content that is super fun, and you can DM me any questions, comments, or videos you'd like to see in the future. Also, you can look at my TikTok if you want to see some fun little shorts of me doing gym things. And you can also like my Facebook page just to give me some extra support. Again, thank you all so much for watching. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. Mwah, mwah. Have an amazing rest of your week. Have some killer workouts and go be your own kind of hurricane. Bye, everyone.